Hello. Hey, good to see you. Hi, how are you? Who's this guy? Is he okay? Yeah. He's my big kind to involved with it. And thanks for the message, you know, for I like. You could be serious. See this very yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh no, it's that's a good. That's a good. Yeah, yes, yeah, full understand. I'm here. Okay, try. Oh, summer. So just push in myself. Make my one, but you've done I'm sure. So, where do you want? So it's up to you. It's whether you want to fit it, but yeah, it's for. So you need to put it around. It's like we picked it out. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, let's start the sampling. Maybe you just see what we're doing.
And then the video will play it.
Nice to meet you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just be starting in a few minutes. Thank you for coming along. It's on your lunch break.
And then you're saying. $8 billion. That was the estimated size of the skin whitening industry in 2020. This is a huge market that is growing fast in popularity, especially among women, who account for almost 80% of sales worldwide. It's almost entirely fed by a desire to have lighter colored skin. But at what potential cost to your health? It's been found that the products helping people lighten their skin often contain high levels of mercury. And many of these creams manufacturers omit mercury on their labels or lists of ingredients. Prolonged mercury exposure can be very harmful to your health. So let's talk about why. Firstly, the most common form of mercury in skin whitening creams is mercury salts, which you can't really see. That's different to the liquid mercury that you may associate with thermometers. When it comes to the health risks, a key factor is how much mercury is in the product. 1 part per million is the permitted level of mercury in cosmetics. That's set by the Minamata Convention on Mercury, which allow exceptions for certain eye area cosmetics. But many skin whitening creams massively exceed that level. Some have been found to contain over 10,000 ppm of mercury, and others have been as high as 50,000 ppm or more. And the impact of this often invisible ingredient can range from damaging your skin to more serious health impacts. Here's an overview of what it can do to you. When creams are applied, mercury gets absorbed into the skin, where it suppresses the production of melanin. That's the pigment that gives color to your skin. But that's not all. Mercury can also travel into the bloodstream and reach the brain, where it can cause neurological problems, including depression and anxiety. Other long-term health impacts from mercury exposure include damage to the kidneys and liver, where mercury can accumulate. Children and pregnant women are especially sensitive to the toxicity of mercury. Exposure to mercury during pregnancy can lead to neurological damage in children, resulting in early childhood development issues. Did you know that it can also pass from a mother to her baby through breastfeeding? Children can also be at risk of exposure if they have regular skin-to-skin contact with someone who uses creams containing mercury, as well as through food that is prepared by someone who uses these products. And through clothing and bedding, as mercury has been found to build up in washing machines when clothes worn by users are laundered. Creams can also lead to mercury vapor being present in the air of homes. Inhaled mercury can cause serious damage to the body, as it will be absorbed by the lungs and then travel to other organs. This means every person living in a home where skin whitening creams containing mercury are used might be at risk of mercury exposure. This might sound alarming, but many public health advisories have cataloged a wide range of creams found to contain high levels of mercury, which are updated regularly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us during your lunch break today for this special event, Mercury in Cosmetics, More Than What Meets the Eye. I'm Meera Senthilingam, an editor for CNN As Equals, CNN's gender inequality reporting desk, which focuses on issues affecting women and gender minorities globally, but particularly across low and middle income countries. Today's event is brought to you by the UN Environment Programme and the Global Environment Facility, who together launched a joint $14 million project to eliminate the use of mercury in skin whitening products earlier this year, the Eliminating Mercury in Skin Lightening Products project. For the project, the governments of Gabon, Jamaica, and Sri Lanka joined forces to fight back against the damaging beauty practice of skin lightening. And it's being implemented by UNEP with funding from the Global Environment Facility and support from WHO and the Biodiversity Research Institute. The project will work to reduce the risk of exposure to mercury-added skin lightening products, raising awareness of the health risks associated with their use, developing model regulations to reduce their circulation, and halting production, trade, and distribution across domestic and international markets. The three-year project will bring the countries together to align their policies on the cosmetic sector with best practices, creating an enabling environment to phase out mercury and attempting to shift broader cultural norms on skin complexion through engaging organisations, healthcare professionals, and influencers working in this field. And all of this involves changing attitudes towards skin lightening as a practice, which is what we'll explore today. In 2021, I led a year-long series for CNN As Equals called White Lies, which set out to investigate and expose the global skin whitening industry and the various ways it's harming women and girls globally, notably through exposure to mercury in these products. And the video you just saw, I'm happy to say, is now an Emmy Award-winning animation, which really put this issue in the spotlight on the global stage earlier this month or last month. So overall, the White Lies series explored many aspects of the industry, but a huge issue and part of it that engaged and resonated with our audiences was this risk of exposure to mercury and all of the harms associated with it. We explored the impact of laws and policies to date and looked at the readily available products across all of the world's biggest platforms, including e-commerce platforms. And notably, we focused on the fact that there are continued cultural and societal beliefs around lighter skin equating to a better life. And this last part is what we're going to focus on today. We have a fantastic panel of experts who will question this continued promotion and normalization of the practice and aim to confront the perpetuation of these harmful cultural norms to see how the issue may best be addressed. So let our session begin, and first to do so, let me please welcome Monica Stankiewicz, Executive Secretary of the Minamata Convention on Mercury, to open the session.
All right, thank you so much, and good day again, everyone. I'm very pleased really to be here, and I'm very pleased also to have so much interest in this very important event. I'm also pleased that the Minamata Convention has helped to shed light on the very serious problem on the use of skin lightening products containing mercury, but in fact also other harmful substances. It is my sincere hope that this slide helps all the parties, partners, and experts who are concerned about this issue to advance their work. This is a key example of how the use of mercury impacts people and their everyday lives and their health. And most people in the world, I believe, are not even aware of the gravity of this problem. And for sure, most of people in the world are unaware of its scale. And as is often the case in combating mercury pollution and health risks, science has come to our aid. Through the dedicated work of many partners here, we know so much more about the levels of mercury in these products, whether or not they are on the market in accordance with the convention and the national policies. But it's not just science, but also awareness raising and advocacy are essential. And you will hear later today from those who are truly making a difference and showing the way forward to protect the health of people throughout the world. And in the introduction for the event, we heard the words about questioning the status quo. And I think in this regard, I would very much like also to welcome and appreciate the ongoing Jeff project, who is pioneering in this regard in terms of the scale and raising public awareness, and exactly to do that, to question the status quo, where the use of the threatening skin lightening products is existing without really acknowledging properly the risk they pose to human health and also the necessity, the actual necessity of using them. So I'm very, very grateful to all panelists and all partners present here, because I know how much work you have already done on this issue, and I'm looking forward also to supporting the work you are going to do in the next months and years. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And now please welcome Maria Neira, Director of the Public Health and the Environment Department at the World Health Organization.
Good morning, Excellencies, dear participants, dear panelists, Monica, Executive Director, all the colleagues and people deciding today to go and make Mercury part of history. My question to all of you is that we want Mercury to be part of history when? For me, from a public health point of view, we should start today and making history as soon as possible. And this is the ambition, I hope, all of us today here at this convention, we are convinced of the need for that. As the World Health Organization representative, I have to remind you something that I'm sure you know very well, but sometimes focusing on the obvious, on the massive and critical messages is very important to keep on our mission and to keep with the ambition we have for this mission. Mercury is neurotoxic. We need to repeat it again. Mercury is neurotoxic. And when you are convinced about that, I suppose that the advocacy campaign that we need to put in place will be even more powerful. I have to congratulate CNN for this incredible video. You see, it takes a lot of advocacy as well to tell people what we are trying to achieve. As you saw in the campaign, in the video, there is almost no single organ in our human body that is not affected by this neurotoxic metal. And that will be already one of the key missions, key reasons why we need to do more and quickly on eliminating mercury. I have a couple of proposals for you. First of all, you will hear from the panelists, and we have the best, how mercury is affecting our human health. So this is extremely powerful and based on very strong scientific evidence. Second, it takes from global to regional to national and local commitments involving communities to do something about this big problem related to mercury and skin whitening products. My proposal is the following. One, if you have a product containing mercury, please don't call it cosmetic. That gives the wrong impression. It's not a cosmetic. Something that contains mercury, whatever is the purpose of that, is not a cosmetic. So it shouldn't be called like that, because somehow we reduce the message we want to pass about the gravity that this represents and how this will be affecting human health. Second, a positive proposal. WHO is very happy to work with UNEP and Jeff on these projects that we are putting in place to mobilize the health community. And in that sense, I want to announce today that we would like to mobilize all the professional associations of dermatologists. The WHO have this is the beauty of our work, this convening power, and convening those professional associations of dermatologists around the world to be part of this advocacy campaign, to join forces to better explain to their clients and to their patients what these products contain and how this can be affected their human health. As you can see, we need the collaboration of scientists, academics, different international organizations, but we need as well the collaboration of artists. We need the collaboration of good advocates. We need the collaboration of those working at national level at the Ministry of Health, Ministers of Environment, and name it. This is a very good cause, and I'm calling on all of you to join to this cause, but with a better sense of speed. We need a little bit more speed to finally put into history this neurotoxic metal that is called mercury. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. And so let's meet our fantastic panel for this afternoon. So we have Amira Adawe, who's founder and executive director of Beautywell. Amira has over a decade of experience combating skin lightening and encouraging all to embrace their identity and culture. Amira. And then next to Amira, we have Catherine Teta, Chief Executive Officer of the Melanin Foundation. Catherine is a public health researcher with over 20 years of experience opposing skin bleaching. And then next to her, we have Lynn Roy Christian, the Minamata focal point and director of Antigua and Barbuda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Trade and Barbuda Affairs. Lynn Roy oversees Antigua and Barbuda's efforts to eliminate mercury-containing skin lightening products, for which the country has been highly successful. And then next to Lynn Roy, we have Alicia Hamilton Campbell, National Project Coordinator for the WHO office in Jamaica. Alicia is a dermatologist with a special interest in addressing skin lightening as a public health emergency and form of skin injury. And then we also have Ange Mabinzu Moale, Director General of the Medicine Agency of Gabon under the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs of Gabon. Ange is a pharmacist with close to 20 years of experience in public health. So a huge amount of expertise and knowledge on our panel today. Thank you for joining us and welcome. I'm going to take a seat in a moment, but I just want to say we have a lot to cover today in just a short amount of time and a few more kind of videos and things for everyone to see. So if I could just ask everyone to be as concise as possible, but also it is a discussion, so weigh in as needed when you want to respond to what anyone else has said today. Okay, so I will take a seat in a moment, but just to open up for the discussion will be in two parts today. Firstly, we'll be looking at just really discussing the culture and the attitudes that persist around skin whitening today. And then later, in the second part, we'll look at how to really address this and what can be done to kind of effectively address this issue. So firstly, can the panel today, I guess starting with Amira, shed light on the societal and cultural pressures that drive individuals to seek lighter skin tones?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mira. Again, my name is Amira Adawe. I just want people to understand that this issue is deeply rooted in colorism. Those of you that don't know what colorism is, it's a discrimination against skin color. And it happens within groups that share same identity, same culture, but also outside groups. And so when communities all over the world have experienced colonizations or slavery, colorism becomes so much embedded in their culture and how societies are defined based on their skin color. And so as I have been doing this research and work for the past 12 years, I have seen parents that encourage their young girls to use these products at very young age. I have met 2 years ago, 13 years old, who is using skin lighting products because of her mother bought it for her and encouraged her to use, and that helps her likelihood of finding husband later on in life. And so you can see that how it's deeply rooted in culture is people encourage for women to use during ceremonial celebrations like weddings, like when you're getting ready for your weddings, you know, like your family members, your grandmothers, parents will encourage you to use these skin lighting products because of it helps you stay in your marriage. And then the other thing that a few years ago, we used to host a radio show. And so we used to have anonymously people calling in to talk about, their use of skin lightening. And so I had a woman called in and talked about if she wants to stop using skin lightening products because of the impact that she has been getting. But she said a comment that stayed with me to this day and helps the work that I do, is that she was so scared about her husband leaving her if she stops using these skin lightening products. So you can see that the impact that's having people, and it's a very deep cultural, it's a very deep societal of how people are defined based on their skin color. And so unless we actually eliminate colorism, which is the root cause of this issue, we're not going to see much of a societal change, and we're not going
Is it power cut? Yeah. Oh no, carry on, Amira.
Yeah, and we're not going to see much on people listening to us. And so I just wanted to say that this is deeply rooted in cultures and in societies of how they define beauty and beauty standards in general.
Great. Thank you, Amira. And just to add to that, we have seen kind of through our reporting, we saw this kind of general change and evolution. There have been huge cultural movements lately, haven't there, around kind of addressing colorism and racism on a broader scale. But yet this attitude still persists and is quite ingrained. It's going to take a long time to really kind of get attitudes and thoughts changed on. Catherine, could you share your insights? And I know you wanted to also highlight kind of some of the issues around gender-based violence and kind of how that can aid and lead to more skin whitening.
Yes. Tout d'abord, j'aimerais m'excuser pour essayer de parler en anglais. Alors, je m'excuse, je vais essayer parce que tout le monde m'a conseillé d'essayer de faire ma présentation en anglais. So, je suis vraiment désolée. So, I'll try to speak English, but I'm really sorry. What I think about skin bleaching issue from West Africa is we need to see this problem at another side apart from anthropologic or medical. And with the society, I think we have other factors who qui aggravent who
Make it more difficult.
who make more difficult with the problem. Like when I do my research, I hear from a lot of people who say one of the problems who push her to start to bleach the skin is the violence domestic or rape. And I hear from a lot of women because there was rape for the first relationship, relation sexuelle. And so they finally married with the person who raped her, and that does make them feel bad. And skin bleaching come like something who can let her live like anybody else. But what I want to say here is my own experience. If I'm activist, is because I have my sister who used to bleach the skin when she was 16 years old. Now she have 69 years and she have all the consequences. 3 cancer and all the list of the skin bleaching. She can't eat anything if she don't take injection because she have diabetes and the maximum level. Even when she drink water, sometimes she feel bad and she need to have injection, drink water. And I started to fight this because when she was pregnant, she used a product with Mercury, and she lost the baby after 8 years. And after that, all these things start. Even now, she have all this problem. She continued to bleach the skin because of an addiction. She can't just stop. And this is not only here. I see on the population people who, when they are pregnant, they have a cesarean, but the doctor can close after and they die. So for me, we need to really ask ourselves if we have another way to for approach to know how to give the message for the population, because when they start to bleach the skin, they don't know anything about the danger. They don't know what it is inside. And most of products we find in the market, they say, like the last time I say, you can bleach your skin with carrots. But finally, carrot can't bleach your skin. You have mercury inside. So this is one of what I would like to say. Thank you, and I'm sorry.
Thank you, Catherine. And I think I just wanted to add like a real key thing that we learned during our series was just how normalized everything was. When I told people, you know, we were going to do this year-long series focused on this issue, most of my kind of South Asian family and community were surprised as to why. You know, why is this even of interest? This is just a thing people do. Why is this newsworthy and of interest? But when I would highlight, well, actually, you know, a lot of these products contain mercury, that was a complete surprise. Yet this was a whole community that were completely aware of the practice and of how widespread products are, but knew nothing about this aspect of it. Would anyone else like to weigh in about the kind of cultural or societal kind of influences on the practice in your respective countries? Linroy, Alicia, Ange, or we'll go to the next one? Okay. And so you've talked about that kind of the culture, the beliefs, the normalization. And where do you think mercury came into this narrative that's been around for a while? How have mercury-containing products become so prevalent, so widespread, and yet hidden in this way? What have you kind of learned through your work about how it's kind of penetrated? Amira or Catherine or anyone else after that, if you just show your hand.
So the practice of, what we learned is that over the years, many of the people who use these products or sell don't know what mercury is. And when I say sell, I mean like ethnic stores, ethnic malls throughout the US, but also in East Africa, where we also, where I also do my research. And so the lack of awareness around mercury, what's mercury? And so many years we focused on the health side and also helping people understand what mercury is and how they can stay away from mercury. But then also you have these industry that are actually targeting specific communities of color, whether it's African communities, Black communities, or brown communities, in the case of Asians and Latin America communities that are disproportionately marketing to them, and specifically marketing to them mercury, highly pollutant steroid-based products. And so there's that lack of knowledge about what's in these products. And so as we have been raising awareness, people to understand, the public to understand the mercury and how it impacts their health, we're seeing shift of understanding. However, I think it needs more awareness for people to understand what mercury is, and then also those who are selling to, not only those who are using, but those who are selling to understand the impact that they're creating. And it's not like just talking about the health impact, but also how they're altering a whole entire culture, whole entire identity of communities. And so the education and awareness has to be a more comprehensive than just focusing on the health side.
Okay. Catherine, would you like to add?
Yes, I would like to talk about why women have this concurrence between the group. Because before to start to bleach the skin, we have inside the group the comment on appelle ça? Le colorisme. Ouais, la discrimination du colorisme dans le groupe, who invite people to find a way to feel better. And also for me, this concurrence between the women come from the polygamy. Everyone know in West of Africa, this example, men can have one woman, two women, two girlfriend, and also, so they have concurrence between the women. Then after they have concurrence between the children, because the first woman children want to see she's better than the second, and the second too. And also the concurrence between woman who is married and the, what do you call, célibataire, single woman. So this concurrence push them to use everywhere to move, like bleach the skin is a signe extérieur de richesse. I don't know how to say in English. Yes, so they want to show people, now I have everything, I'm proud, and I can do what I want. So for me, it's very important to see skin bleaching outside anthropologic and medical side.
Great, thank you. Linroy, yes.
Yes, thank you. I mean, in my country, we've seen a shift perhaps in the last decade in culture, where the skin lightening is concerned. I mean, it started very few people who would just spot correct or would have smaller issues, and the subset of people were actually generally small. But within the last 10 years, we've seen a very big shift in the culture as it relates to skin lightening. It's not always directly linked to a certain degree colorism, but there's a certain culture, tattoo culture, and it's now even greater in the men in the last perhaps 2 to 3 years that we've seen. But our focus really is from my perspective, was more of the health issue, but we have to recognize the social aspects and how that drives this issue of from a social perspective, and how that links to the economic side of things. So from a government perspective, you have to tackle it from all of these angles, and the role of science, of course. Well, from my standpoint, it's critical, and how we translate that to persons. Yeah.
And just to ask, actually, with that shift though, have any of you seen any kind of shift of pushback against kind of the practice at all, and people being more vocal about not wanting to lighten their skin, or, because we're seeing that generationally a bit, but have you seen that much, and has it been significant enough yet, even if in certain age groups or demographics?
Well, just one quick example. I mean, when we did announce that we are instituting a regulation, it went to the point where people are saying you're infringing upon my constitutional rights. I mean, it went as far as saying they're going to take the government to court. It has, but it's not exactly pervasive, but there is that growing sense that you cannot control what I do to my body. And therefore, there is a sense of that pushback already. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And sorry, Alicia was nodding, so then I'll come to you, Mira.
Right. Just to add to that point on pushback, etc., is that when you look at addressing issues that have to do with cosmetics, and particularly in skin lightening, some users will tell you that it's just another way of persons trying to police women's bodies. And so it's very important that when you look at the cultural and social drivers, and in making the policy, that we also have to include the persons who use these products. We have to invite them to the table. and allow them to be included in how we draft these policies to get their perspective, right? We have to acknowledge the drivers and the social determinants that help to influence their health choices. And this is where we can also find opportunities to come up with effective measures to tackle the issue. And on the part of pushback, particularly in my country, in Jamaica, we have had persons from civic society, persons from various religions, even the Rastafarian movement, who have spoken against persons wanting to lighten their skin tone. So yes, there is a vocal group that will say this is all right. It is a beauty procedure that we want to do, right? And so the narrative for them is one thing, but you do have persons who are cognizant of that and are pushing back. And so there is space for that back and forth discourse that is going to be necessary to address the cultural and the societal drivers to initiate the change.
Thank you. And Amira?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a shift that we have seen, especially among the young people for the past 3 years, which is the narrative about Black Lives Matter. And so this age group actually shifted the narrative of colorism, but also the use of skin lightening globally. But it hasn't reached some regions in globally, and hopefully it will reach those young people that are organizing still.
Okay, thank you. And Catherine, did you want to add something as well?
No, what I can say is in West Africa, we can see it's more than more, even if some people try to keep themselves naturally. Like the last time when I went to Lomé, because now I cut my hair, I can see many people who cut the hair. Then I ask them, why you cut your hair? You say, no, it's enough. I don't want to put chemical products anymore to my hair. So I think something starts, but the way is far.
Okay, great. Thank you. So just because you touched on, I mean, there is this, it's the issue of colorism more broadly, which we're kind of going to hear a bit about somebody who's working with kind of younger generations now on this. Because I think the actual term, what we learned a lot about was colorism itself as a term isn't yet widely known or understood in comparison to terms like racism, for example. And so it was something we had to kind of constantly explain exactly what this really means, and then what it drives and what practices it then fuels, like skin whitening. And someone who's been quite vocal about this is Keris Rogers, who we're going to hear from now, who shared a video for this session before we come back to the panel discussion. Keris is an actress, activist, fashion designer, singer, dancer, model, and founder of Flex in My Complexion. So many attributes. She's passionate about combating racism and colorism, having been bullied at school because of her darker skin tone. And having looked at her kind of bio and her coverage, she has had remarkable reach, drawing attention to this issue in the US, more specifically, but also on a global level, and helped kind of really raise awareness of this term. So now we'll just hear briefly from Keris.
Hey everyone, my name is Keris Rogers, and I am so honored to have this opportunity to address you all, even if it's from a distance. Today I want to share with you my beliefs and experiences regarding the critical issue of skin lightening products and the cultural norms that surround it. For me, this issue is close to home. I've witnessed firsthand the societal pressures and expectations that can lead individuals, especially young people, to consider using these products. It's a complex issue rooted in deeply ingrained cultural beliefs about beauty standards. At the young age of 6 years old, I became very aware of the pressure society imposes on individuals to conform to unrealistic beauty ideals. It was this realization that led me to launch my brand, Flexin' in My Complexion. This brand is not just a statement, it's a movement. It's a celebration of the beauty that shines from within, regardless of the skin color. Through my brand, I aim to empower individuals of all ages and backgrounds to embrace their unique complexion, to stand tall and proud of who they are. It's about declaring to the world that we are enough, just as we are, and that our skin is a canvas that tells a story of resilience and individuality. But here's the thing, true beauty lies in diversity. It's in the uniqueness of our skin tones, our features, and our identities. It's about embracing who we are unapologetically, okay? When we resort to skin lightening, we are not just altering our appearance, we're diminishing the rich tapestry of human diversity. The Minamata Convention stands as a beacon of hope, a collective commitment to safeguarding human health, the environment from the devastating effects of mercury. Its relevance to our decision today is paramount. Mercury, often a key component in skin lightening products, poses grave risks to health and the environment. It's time to make mercury history. It's time to challenge the norms that promote the use of these products. It's time to celebrate our unique beauty and champion inclusivity. I extend my deepest gratitude to UNEP and GEF for their tireless efforts in organizing this event, and to each one of you of your unwavering dedication to this cause. Together, we have the power to make a lasting impact, to reshape narratives, and to empower generations to come. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought. Our strength lies in our diversity, and our power rests in our unity. Let's continue this important conversation and work towards a future where every individual feels valued and beautiful just as they are. Thank you guys so much.
And so, I mean, Keris and many kind of influencers like her have managed to really have great reach amongst kind of younger generations, really, particularly in the US, across the West, but it's now penetrating kind of across Asia and Africa a bit more. But to a slower extent is what we saw from our reporting. But the one thing we really did learn from our series was how ready people are to really talk about this and put a spotlight on it and get people kind of discussing diversity, colorism, skin whitening, and really like push for change in this space, which hopefully kind of the Jeff Project and everything else kind of working in this can now have that momentum behind it to really have more impact, which is what we'll now kind of move on to now with our discussion. So kind of we've looked a bit at the kind of cultural and societal norms, and we've touched on actually some of the policy, but and the kind of the ways to address this. But if we could focus a bit more on what it's really going to take to address these cultural and societal factors that drive the use of skin lightening products. So apart from kind of regulating mercury content, what else is needed to kind of really have impact as a result of that? For example, we saw from reporting in Rwanda, where there was regulation in place and it was actually quite hard to get hold of skin whitening products, there was still this huge demand and people were going to extremes and paying, you know, double, triple, sometimes more than that for products. And there was secret codes and certain practices and a huge amount of trust between dealers in order to still obtain these products, which means it kind of just shows that, you know, if the demand is there, that needs to be addressed too. So what do you think, panel, everybody, kind of is something we can do to address this more and enable the kind of policies to have as much impact as possible? If we could start with Orange, that would be great. Turn to your microphone. Yeah.
Sorry, I will start my microphone. Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would like to thank the World Organization Health, the UNIT Environment Program, the Biodiversity Research Institute, and the Global Environment for selecting Gabon as one of 3 countries implementing the project. I would also like to thank the organization of this event for giving us the opportunity to discuss certain aspects of practice of skin whitening in Gabon. Regarding the role of political decision maker and practitioner is taking the phenomenon of skin whitening in Gabon. We believe it's necessary to step in raising among the population through information system accessible to the large public. The activity carried out as part of the body hygiene product control mission show that some people. We have found the lightening product are unaware of how dangerous this product can be. The land emphasize the aesthetic aspect of skin lightening. This is why politicians need to step up campaign to heighten the harmful effect on health. The promotion of alternative products and the dissemination of regulation to seller and target population while interrogating the gender aspect must also be taken into account to safeguard both the health and source of income of trader. It was being observed that the sale of lightening product is often the only source of income to some cosmetic retailers who are economically accessible to the middle class. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. And would anyone else like to add to what Ange said or provide insights from your own work and countries? Alicia?
In regards to how we can address the cultural and societal drivers is that we first have to acknowledge them. We have to acknowledge that for persons who are willing to use the product, that there is real benefits from their perspective that they can get from these products. And one thing that all the speakers here have highlighted is just how dangerous the products are, but they don't know. And so it's very important for us to develop relatable awareness material in a manner that is acceptable for the persons that we wish to target. So building on the lack of awareness, coupling that with inclusive policy, as well as understanding that from the community and national levels, stakeholders such as, dermatologists, even beauticians, all need to be at the table to be able to give proper health education to these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you. Linroy?
Yeah, so just to follow from that, from a policy perspective, because sometimes the education has to happen at the policy level first, again, to establish, is this a priority? If it's not seen as a national priority, then it obviously would get very little traction. So for us, the engagement at that policy level is extremely important. As a concrete example, as our Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, I mean, we've taken ownership of this issue to say we will then indicate at the ministerial level, these are some of the prescribed actions that we should take. Engage those stakeholders within that policy level to ensure that they understand their role in how we implement measures to address that sort of inclusiveness. Then you also have to look at the persons who utilize them and how can we engage their perspective and to educate them. Because a part of the issue has been alluded to earlier is this issue of causality. I mean, it may not be particularly obvious to a person within a year or two that you may have an impact, but again, providing that scientific information to establish that causality is difficult, but we have to strive to do that. So there are more studies that are required that do demonstrate in a very real way that this is the impact and this is how you could succumb to X, Y, Z. Again, just hearing it scroll across a screen that is being dictated to you, it's not enough. And I think that diverse engagement is important, and science communication is difficult. Probably the worst persons to communicate science would be scientists. I think you always have to have persons who can almost translate it into something relatable to other people. And we've seen this not just with Minamata Convention, but within the PRS sphere, Stockholm Convention. So it's very important to have that message that resonates with people.
And just building on that, so what do you think can effectively kind of get that knowledge and awareness into the necessary communities? So, for example, we had one of the stories of our series that did very well in terms of people responding to it was about this woman this mother who'd lost her peripheral vision from using products for so long, and a whole range of different products, many of which contained mercury. She obviously didn't know that, and then through the work in Minnesota, the sellers of those products also weren't aware of it. But it was an extreme case. And so even then after that, some people we spoke to thought, you know, it's okay, I've been using them for X years, I haven't had those symptoms yet. So it's not everybody, so it's okay. So I guess having worked with the community, but also now addressing this, what do you think it's going to take to get that really reach them and have that awareness directly? Any thoughts?
Well, you have to establish that not all skin lightening creams do contain mercury. And so that, again, you have to equate the fact that it is contaminated, or it may contain this particular contaminant or range of contaminants that may promote this particular health impact. But in this generation, I mean, looking at it, you have to have persons to champion your cause. I think nowadays they're called influencers. You know, you have to utilize the power of social media and the power of persons who can transmit this message, who can engage with persons from within a particular generation or across generations. So, and again, what cultural aspect drives it within your country or within your region that you can tap into? And I know for Jamaica as well, there's this dancehall culture. We were discussing it yesterday, and that pervades throughout the Caribbean region. And it is one avenue where you can perhaps provide someone who can speak the language to get persons to recognize that they're, apart from the lightening issue, which is the colorism issue, but there is a health issue tagged onto that we have to pay attention to. And regulation is not trying to infringe upon your rights, but trying to protect you. It's like if we're measuring mercury in fish. That's not infringing upon your rights, telling you what fish to buy or what not to eat. So there are certain equivalences that we have to be clear about in our communication. And I think it should help, but there is a consistency to it as well that needs to be addressed. We can't be talking today to not tomorrow, and who is speaking as well. We have to be very consistent and methodical in how we communicate.
Thank you. Amira, you were saying, and I think Alicia after that, and Catherine, and this.
I just wanted to add about the case in Minnesota, the woman that lost her vision. After that case was covered by CNN, it really helped us to share that narrative, and I think it changed the behavior of some people that we were educating, some community members that we were educating, not only in the US, but also in East Africa communities that we work with in East Africa. So of course, you know, that was the first time, other than the case in California, that was scientifically proven that it associates directly with mercury exposure from skin lightening, and that really helps. So that's where collaboration, the healthcare providers, government systems, and communities actually will work to change this whole issue, because if just governments itself work, and who is the messenger? You know, a lot of community members usually talk to us about, we don't want to only hear from government systems talking to us about skin lightening and mercury exposure. We also want to hear from, you know, community-based organizations that are working with us directly. And so I think that whole collaboration is very important. But also I just want to highlight that the importance of biomonitoring researches, because in Minnesota, some of the things that really helped us to share with the communities the health change is the biomonitoring research, showing that there's a, you know, tests of pregnant women urine positive for high levels of mercury, and then what do we do? So that education and also partnering with the Department of Health has been very helpful, but also government systems to make sure that they value community-based organizations' work is also very important.
Thank you. And Alicia?
Just to add to both Leroy's comments, is that we're at a point in society where discussions are occurring at various levels about colorism and how it shows up in our society on social media, etc. Just earlier this month, actually, a wax figure of the actor Dwayne Johnson was showcased, and it was much lighter than his actual complexion. And what he did was request that these persons would darken the wax figure to fit his actual skin tone. And so that's an example of someone advocating for clarity and advocating for representation of persons of colors to be depicted as they truly are. And the practice of whitening someone's skin to appear in magazine covers, etc., is something that has occurred, throughout the ages. So we're at a point where persons are actively addressing this situation. And secondly, there's also more interest in the medical field on skin of color and things that affect skin of color. And it would be the greatest opportunity now for us to also include skin lightening as a public health urgency and a form of skin injury in medical education formally, so that dermatologists, medical doctors who also treat patients at the community level, who will be the persons interacting primarily with persons who use these products, can screen for the usage and can implement educational measures to assist persons in increasing their awareness, because again, they might not be able to put one and two together, that because I'm using this cream is why I'm having these tremors, or because I'm using this product, why I have this particular irritation on my skin or inflammation. And so couple that with global data or information on these products from testing, etc., to show that these products contain mercury or other toxic metals would be very important to support that sort of ecosystem of education, awareness, and advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Orange, I'll come to you in one moment. I'll just go to Catherine. Yeah, thank you. Catherine, I know you wanted to talk about the need for educating children about this.
Yes, of course. I think the way to try to do something is education. We need to put this consequence or the problem in the education system and start early. In my research, I make a focus group with the children. The minimum was 4, a maximum 10 years old. And I show them the difference between dark skin and light skin, the way the melanin grow up. And when I finished to speak with them, one of them, 4 years old, told me, so Catherine, the light skin have a problem. Comment je peux dire en français, dit, il est handicapé. Je ne sais pas comment on dit ça en anglais. Yes. So I say yes, because he needs the melanin to protect, but they can't have it. That's why the last part of the cellule don't have a melanin. And that give me the information. She really understands what we talk about. So I'm sure if earlier the children can know, can have the information, why the skin.
Hopefully it will come back. Yeah, there you go.
Why he have dark skin and what benefit this dark skin bring to him, he will never touch skin bleaching products. And also, I want to say, I do comment on dit, atelier, workshop with women in market in Côte d'Ivoire. It was funny because I was invited by university and do workshop with students. Then after that, I asked them, how can I talk with your parents at home? So maybe we can do something. So one of the ladies who was there tell me, um, I'm in the market. I never go to school, but around me, I have many person who bleach the skin. Then I would like to help them. Then I ask her, invite me to the market so I can come and let them know what is dangerous, what they need to know about it. So when I was in the market, we talk about it, and I tell her, you can use the products you sell, like banana, you eat the banana, you can use the skin to make a product, and we start to do that. And from 5-6%, we was like 50, I don't know how many, and I have to show them how to prepare the products to take care of the skin and talk about it. And finally, most of them ask me, now I know how to stop to bleach my skin and keep my color, my normal color, sans tache, not that dark part. So I tell them the way to do it, and that can take 1 year. You have to stop to mix the products and so and so. I'm still in contact with them. Then I can see lot of them stop to bleach the skin. And when they have a problem, they can call me and say, okay, I have this problem, how to do. So that means people need to know how to do to go out this process and have a nice skin don't mean light skin. And I'm a beautician. We have a solution to keep skin nice. And I think this is what they need. So maybe we should invite these people and do a lot of work to let them know they have another solution to have a nice skin. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I think we were talking about that earlier, about how lighter skin very often doesn't look very healthy at all, actually, but it's still that belief that it looks healthy and you look better that's kind of dominating the practice. Ange, how about from Gabon?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. In my view, health professional will have to play a major role, particularly in raising awareness among the large public, children, and among sellers of these products. Some are banned. Health professionals should also to involve to reaching the definite alternative solution of cosmetic containing mercury and another dangerous substance. On an institutional level of Ministry of Health of Authority responsible for health policy will also have to ensure compliance with national and international regulation in force. In Gabon's case, regulation will pass October 25 in this banning this manufacture, export, distribution, marketing products and content mercury, in particular dental amalgam, blood pressure monitor, thermometer, and lightening product. The challenge is therefore to apply the strong urgent measure to protect people's health. I think that in Gabon, it's very important to be in mind that the fight against mercury-containing products must be a multi-sectoral effort involving all stakeholders, in particular health professional, environmental administrator, custom service, research institutions, security force, civil society, and individual people contending for the fight against skin whitening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I imagine everybody agrees about this need to engage with all the different kind of sectors, including healthcare professionals who are maybe dealing directly with any people using products. I mean, that's how we came across that case of the woman who'd lost her vision. She'd kind of come in for very other symptoms. I think it was more related to like anxiety, for example, but she'd been on the radar of a particular doctor who really knows about this issue in particular and looks out for symptoms of Mercury, for example, and then was able to really engage with that mother, but also then others across the community as well. I wanted to, I mean, we need to go to it. We'll have a time for some questions in a minute, but I just wanted to touch there on kind of if anyone has thoughts about engaging more with the kind of commercial and private sector and kind of the role that like beauty companies and, you know, other cosmetics companies and producers play in this kind of whole sector in this industry, and how best to do, you know, should you be working more with them about the kind of narratives that they're aiding? Alicia, I see you nodding.
So we can't underestimate the role that beauty manufacturers and definitely the beauty industry on a whole, or the stakeholders that they would play in this particular regard, because as said before, cultural drivers, they will show up in advertisements, yeah? They will show up in how we define what is beautiful. And when they put, say, a poster out there, it's giving women, children, and men something to aim towards as an acceptable form of beauty. Additionally, it's important for these industries to understand that in order for us to improve beauty equity through products, we have to make products that contain good ingredients more affordable and widely accessible. Because one of the issues with skin lightening products, and particularly those that contain mercury, is that they are made for poor resource countries, marketed to persons who have ethnic skin, and therefore they're filling this gap in the sense where some persons cannot afford other beauty products or alternatives, and so they will choose what is readily available. So we have to look at making access to better products more widely acceptable for all. That's one of the ways we can address it.
Thank you. Would anyone, yeah, Lynn Roy, did you want to say anything? Okay.
Yeah, just from a slightly different perspective, when it comes to assurances to the public, whether it is quality, safety, traceability, these things do matter. And I think from a policy or government standpoint, these are the institutional measures that you have to put in place to protect your public. So you have to ensure that products that are being manufactured within a particular realm would at minimum adhere to what would be acceptable standards, because standards by their very nature are voluntary. But at least if you have that culture developed within that, then you may have more confidence in the products that are produced. And to take it a step further, you can now put in place regulations to ensure that these standards are being upheld. Because it's one thing to say this particular ingredient is okay at a particular level, but is it being sold at that level? Are you being told that this particular other, like hydroquinone, which is also in skin lightening creams, can be used in an acceptable manner with the proper guidance from a medical professional, but used uncontrollably, it is a problem? Or if it's supposed to be at a particular 0.1%, is it actually at that, or is it 10, 12%? So there is an obligation on the part of governments, particularly in countries that do manufacture these products, to ensure that they're manufactured to the highest standard of quality. And for those who import, like my country, net importers, we also have to ensure that we have systems in place to validate or to verify that that is the case. So that aspect is extremely important and is also very much lacking in producing and receiving countries. So it does need to be addressed.
Thank you. And I know, Amira, you wanted to add, and then we'll come to questions, I think, unless anyone else.
So I just wanted to highlight about, we train primary care physicians and OBGYN on this issue, mercury exposure through skin lightening. And a lot of times these physicians call us and say people are asking alternatives. We tell them to stop mercury in skin lightening, but they're asking alternative. And the answer that I give to these physicians mostly are, there's no alternative to skin lightening. The whole concept of the work that we do is that there's no safe skin lightening products. We cannot pick and choose. We cannot say that stop mercury in skin lightening, and then yes, it's okay to use hydroquinone or steroid-based, because my whole work and dedicated my whole career to this is against the use of skin lightening in communities of color. And so I think we have to eliminate altogether skin lightening products, and all of them contain different chemicals, different ingredients that are toxic. If it's not mercury, it's other toxic ingredients. And so we should not promoting some skin lightening products and eliminating some of them. So we should eliminate all of them together.
Okay. Okay. Orange, just very briefly. Yeah. What
Okay.
would you like?
Okay. Little. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I could have that the capacity of detection product containing mercury must be developed. Thing. In all countries, in other combat, they scored most effectively. Pulling effort at national or regional level to improve the control of mercury containing product and the management of result waste must be elements of the cooperation strategy between the stakeholder.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Didn't mean to rush you. And Catherine, do you have a final comment at all on that?
Yes. What I want to say, most of country let the company make the products, and at the same time they admit it's bad and try to do something. So for me, this is the big problem. And I have experience in Togo, who one of the big factory is there. Then I went to see them and say, I'm a beautician, I have all my papers, I show them, and I would like to sell your products. So, and he said, yes, but we are wholesaler. I said, no, I'm in Switzerland, look at my paper, and I can buy like 1 and 2 containers. Oh, good. So they introduced me, we tried to talk about the price, and one of them says, so your products, you want to take it from Switzerland or only in Africa? I say, no, of course, I want to sell it in Europe, not only in Switzerland. And he said, sorry, we can't work with you because our products have mercury and many things who we can say in Europe. So my question, I would like to ask this question of Togo government, how can you leave this factory, make the products with all this products, and at the same time, you're supposed to protect the population? And this is not only in Togo, in Côte d'Ivoire, they have a regulation to stop to make the products, stop to use the products, stop to sell the products. But you still have a lot of companies who make the products. So I think this is a big problem we need to deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you. And it would just be great for maybe 5 minutes or so, just to see if anybody has any questions for the panel. Yes, Michael?
Thanks, Mira. I'm Michael Bender with the Zero Mercury Working Group. And I'd be interested in hearing your views on the challenges about advertising of mercury skin lightening products. And we're seeing that very dramatically with online platforms around the world. How do we engage online platforms to get them not only to stop selling these products, but as a first step to stop advertising, display, marketing, clearly in violation of the intent of the Minamata Convention? Thank you.
Who would like to take that question? Linroy?
Well, I know Michael well. We have worked together, and this is a question, a fundamental question within a country, looking at an international within an international sphere, how you deal with it with local regulations or legislation. And in our country, we have another construct where we have these companies who do purchase from other markets, and they are pretty much retail outlets, but they have this sort of mailbox service where you can order online through them and it comes through the process. And what we sought to do is to actually regulate those companies because they do enjoy a space which is a regulatory loophole, and therefore you license them because you now are a seller of a particular chemical or something that may infringe upon our Pharmacy Act, anything in that realm. So through that space, we're trying to ensure that products from an online market through these platforms are dealt with. On an individual level, it is very difficult. What you can do is to provide information to some of these platforms to indicate the harm that these things are causing and the fact that you are engaging in false advertising. But it still goes back to the country in which these companies are registered that still will have to implement the necessary legislation. So the collaboration between countries through the Minamata Convention, or even if you're a non-party, government to government, there is still no substitute for that. Wherever that company is registered, this platform, you have to engage government to government, at least to try to indicate the scope of the problem.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, just here in the yellow top.
Thank you so much for this. This is quite informative and long overdue, and I'm happy that we're having men as panelists. I'm Zugi Gwai, Senior Policy Advisor, International Chemicals and Waste Corporation, South Africa. For me, if we were to address anything, we should focus most at the source. And I'm happy that we've identified the causalities of all of this. In Africa, it's men who are looking for light-skinned women. So we need to prioritize efforts at speaking on teaching men. Because in Africa, marriage is put up there that every girl, there's even idioms and saying that you ought to end up being married to somebody. So we need to teach our men, our brothers, that mercury is not just toxic, it's not just a potent neurotoxin, it's an endocrine disruptor. In Africa, we all need, the wealth to us is healthy children. So if then you're wanting a light-skinned woman, what are the implications for the reproductive system of that woman? Yet you want a healthy baby, not just one, many. So I think the language we ought to use should be such that understand the sources. Why are these women doing this? It is because I want to be liked by this man that prefer light-skinned women. And we need to tell them, if then I'm using this, it's likely that I'll struggle to conceive children. The children that in Africa, I am seen as a wife because I'm able to bear children. So there are those realities. On the second one is mothers. The mother is the head of the home in terms of raising children. She's the one who can inspire the children, tell the children that we are more than enough, we are beautiful. But what we're finding in most cases, particularly in rural areas, and even in those areas that are not necessarily rural, learned people, professors with your PhD and everything, when we get married in Vietnam. So there are those issues we need to address then, and the mother will be saying, like one of the panelists said it, that you need to use this so that then you can get married. So mothers have a significant role to play in this, and the men that are at an age of dating, because even when they are married, they push the wives to use these. Before you know it, he's out there looking for a light-skinned woman. And thank you so much. It's a process, it's a long one. And maybe also we can engage the chiefs where there are chiefs or cultural arrangements so that the message spread through training the trainer. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And just to add to that, that definitely extends kind of into and across Asia as well. You see kind of a big marriage market that's kind of built around women having lighter skin, fairer skin, it being a more kind of desirable and therefore successful trait. It's being addressed. I think I actually notice it in a lot of mainstream media now, being talked about a little bit more, but it's still very much there and very much in, say, matrimonial adverts that are in newspapers and so on. Does anyone want to just kind of add anything to that? And then I know we've got one question at the back, and then that might need to be, we might have one more after that. But would anyone like to comment? No? Yeah. No? Okay. The question at the back. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the panel. And I have a question for Amira. So I agree with you that we need to get rid of skin lighteners completely. But in the community that I work in New York City, every time I talk about mercury and skin lighteners, I'm always asked, well, what's the safe alternative? Now, you've been in this space for a really long time, so I wanted to hear from you. How do you communicate to people that there really is no safe alternative, and how do you balance harm reduction in public health with this demand for skin lightening?
Thank you. So usually that comes up a lot, actually, alternative. And I usually ask, and our team actually is trained to do that as well. Are you using this intentionally to change your skin color, or is it skin condition, or you're addressing a skin conditioner? So if they say that they're addressing a skin condition, we ask them to go and talk to their healthcare providers. So they get medical assessment to see if they need dermatologists to treat them. And then during that duration of dermatologist, they're under supervision of doctors. So I think that is addressing medical. But if it's intentional to change their skin color, we tell them there's no alternative. There's no safe skin lightening products. And that's when we teach them not only mercury, but also hydroquinone. High percentage of hydroquinone is toxic. Same with steroids. The steroids that are available in the US, especially in ethnic markets, are highly pollutant. And so we teach them what's a steroid, how it's impacting people's health. So there's no alternative to it. So if they are interested in just beauty, then we have to teach them wellness, healthy ways to stay healthy, ways to use sunscreens that don't have chemicals and things like that. So we go into health education more than just giving them alternative, because there's no alternative, and we don't want people to intentionally change in their skin color. So that's the message that we share, and we're very direct about that.
Great. So I'm going to just say one more question, and I think it was somebody at the back that had their hand up first. But I think the panel will be around afterwards if you want to ask us a question. So
Can
just,
I?
Right.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Where
was in the
myself. Where am I?
Hello. Yes. I'm really feel shame in this century. We're talking about the skin should be the lightening, skin should be the fairness. Why don't you think about that? Why don't you change our mind? Because we are thinking about many people are talking about the skin lightening cream. So why don't you just stop this nonsense, this type of trade? Why don't we? Because I am also related to the David. He already mentioned that we are the study in 2015 in Bangladesh. We have been studying with the zero mercury. We have been testing a cream, skin lightening cream there. We have in Bangladesh, we have a standard also. BSTI has a mandatory standard there. So it's also growing. Why don't we stop this trade? Why we are thinking about, why we are talking about this type of products we are discussing here? This is my request, please think about it, be human, think about your next generation. We don't pollute our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone like to address that? Alicia and then Roy. Yep. Alicia? the challenges of just...
She was talking about the regulatory side
Yeah,
of
just
things, yeah.
stopping trade, I guess, altogether.
Yeah, there is really no substitute for that. I mean, you are, at this point, again, we've recognized it and the importance of putting regulations in place. Despite the pushback, it is something that has to happen because there's an overriding health issue. And of course, we cannot discount the social side of things. And I think that's where the diversity in the discussion has to happen. But from a purely policy standpoint, you have to provide that space for regulation and to ensure that you stop the trade and the use of any product, including mercury, that would harm human health and the environment. There's some of these creams that if we were to spill it in the lab, I'd have to put on a hazmat suit to pick it up. And these are being applied to the skin on a daily basis. And that is what you have to ensure that you, as a country, put yourself in a position to guard against that. So I fully agree with the sentiment that it needs to stop.
And I think, I mean, it's extremely complicated, truly enforcing something and then checking where all of these products are, right? Which is what we thought in our reporting, which enables them to have those illegal markets and so on. But I do need to let us hear from Sema next. But if I think the panelists, you're aware, you could talk to them afterwards. Before we close, let me introduce Sema Johnson, Director of the Pantheon of Women Who Inspire. Sema is an artist and co-financing partner of the Jeff Project, overseeing a collection of over 400 portraits of the inspirational women, some of which are around the room today. So please do take a closer look once we close today, because they're beautiful portraits. I don't know where to push. I think that just needs to be made live. I don't think there's a button.
Thank you.
So, Sema.
So, hello, bonsoir. I'd like to thank you, first of all, for the invitation to be able to present my project here today. And I would like to take the opportunity to offer this honor to the legacy of 400 women, inspiring women, who is here in spirit with me today. And first of all, I'm delighted to announce my role as co-financing partner within the GEF-supported project to eliminate mercury from skin lightening products. So I'm Sema Johnson, the artist behind the 50 portraits on display. They're actually part of a larger art installation that consists of 400 female role models, named the Pantheon of Women Who Inspire. In 2018, during a challenging time in my own life, I started to read about remarkable women, got inspired, and began to paint their portraits. In this process, I selected admirable women from all countries, fields, and eras, dating back to antiquity. And I chose to paint the portraits in grayscale to highlight our shared humanity, while stressing that our skin color does not define us. It's our stories that truly matter. After many test runs and exhibitions using the arts and storytelling, the Pantheon has now grown into having two main missions. The first one is to create a comprehensive global patrimony to preserve the legacies of women who have shaped the world so that they are not forgotten in history. Second is to contribute towards a more justified world through art and storytelling, and get people to understand and accept each other, promote self-empowerment, diversity, peace, and hope. Artists are well known to bend the rules, so this is why I would like to propose an idea that can empower and help people to find self-love, which I believe can help with most mental health problems, such as skin lightening, and the who am I question that is coming up more and more and more in this world today. All throughout history, native cultures have long understood the healing power when storytelling and arts are combined. Dr. Milton Erickson, the well-known hypnotherapist, adopted this exact storytelling method and used unrelated stories just as the natives to heal his patients. He discovered that just one single word in a story could trigger a shift in the patient's mindset and heal them. Art is well known to provide non-verbal ways to bring out complex emotions, challenge perspectives, and inspire action. So it is, in my opinion, that combining the arts and storytelling via workshops, we can heal the addictions and the low self-esteem. Use the arts like painting or journaling to inspire action, and the stories of the women to educate and inspire self-compassion and a shift in people's minds. Through the tales, we can create shock, surprise, and confusion, and with a generous use of open-ended questions and playful humor, we can help people to see situations in a new way. I mean, these women's life stories are already extraordinary tales of self-transformation and empathy, and a huge source of inspiration for anyone, regardless of gender. So imagine spending a day with Barbara Hillary, the first African woman who reached both South and North Poles, and this at the age of 79 after beating lung cancer. Or travel with Yu Tu into remote villages in China to find remedies for malaria, or be seduced by Matahari. There are thousands of women we could be celebrating that can help to trigger our own self-worth and empower us. Our potential lies within us and not in other people's validations. It's certainly not validated by our skin color. Let me repeat that again. Our potential lies within us. So, on top of this, we will be helping to close the UN's gender goal at the same time. So it's been my pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sema. And with that, I'll bring this special event to a close. And I just want to leave a lasting thought about the people who use these products that we've been talking about today. A key note that we always kept in mind when working on our series was really thinking about the people using these products and the fact that they generally shouldn't be victimized in any way. They're using things that they believe makes their life better, whether that's making them more eligible for marriage, for employment, making them appear like they have a higher status in society to, again, lead to more success, ideally, for them. And there are so many associations that stem from over the years related to darker skin that really do need to be addressed in order to really then help enforce all of the other regulations that are hoping to be put in place to truly tackle exposure to mercury through these products. So thank you to everybody for coming today. And of course, thank you to our panel, Amira, Catherine, Alicia, Ange, Linroy, to Sema for your beautiful artwork, and to our opening speakers, Monica and Maria. Thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Really? I think they cover it.